Hey there, third grade. This is Mr. Campbell. We are going to be starting today in your book on page 81. And our lesson for today is 3.2, which is to apply properties 3 and 4 as factors. All right, and all that means is we're going to try working with 3 and 4 and see if we can do some mental math and break that down to be able to work it. So at the end of our lesson today, we want to say I can use tools and properties strategically to solve problems when I multiply 3 and 4. What that means is using the things we've learned, tools and properties, that's all the things that we've learned. Strategically means making the right choice to solve problems. So we want to use the things we've learned already to help us solve the problems when we multiply by 3 or 4. And so we're going to go ahead and use the distributive property that we used last time to help us out when we're multiplying by 3s and 4s. So go ahead and turn with me to page 82 as we get started on our lesson. All right, here we are on page 82, and it says, the park district has canoes stored in 3 rows. I'm going to underline 3 rows. There are 6 canoes in each row. I'm going to underline 6 canoes in each row. What is the total number of canoes stored? And they've already drawn this out for us. So there's 3 rows. Here we go. We've got 1, 2, and 3. And how many canoes? Well, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so there are 3 rows, and there are 6 canoes in each row. And we're going to multiply to find this. And yesterday we were talking about this. This multiplication problem would be what? It would be 3 times 6. All right, because we have 3 rows, and there's 6 in each one. So let's look at box B and see what this means. Well, there it is. Find 3 times 6. Now, they're using counters down here because those are the thing that we don't actually have these canoes, right? So we've got to use our counters to be able to solve this type of a problem. So what we can do is we can break our array into some easier problems. We said 3 times 6. 3 can be a trickier number when we're doing some multiplication. So instead, let's break it into some easier parts. And so I see we've got our 3 rows, and there's 6 in each row. All right, and I see they left this little gap here, and I like to draw my line through it just to help me remember that I took my 3 and I broke it into 2 plus 1, because 2 plus 1 equals 3, right? Well, 2 times 6 is a doubles fact, and if we focused on those doubles facts, we should be a little bit better to be able to figure out that problem, right? 2 times 6 is 12. And then I know from my identity property, which tells me that my 1 here is going to take the identity of my other number. So if it takes the identity, it becomes a 6 because it wants to steal its identity, right? So 6. Well, now that we've got that, 6 plus 12, because our distribution property yesterday told us that when we separate those, we add them together to get our total. So we took our 3 times 6, broke it into 2 times 6 plus 1 times 6, which equaled 12 plus 6, which is a total of 18. Well, what do you think? Let's take another look. 3 times 6 is 3 rows of 6. That is 2 6s plus 1 more. 2 6s plus 1 more. 2 6s is 12. 2 times 6 equals 12. 1 6 is 6. 12 plus 6 equals 18. So 3 times 6 equals 18. There are 18, and in our word problem, we were using canoes. So that's why they included their word here in order for us to see that. All right. Well, let's go to page 83 and check out another example of how we can do a problem like this using our distribution property. All right. On page 83, we've got our next example. We've got 4 times 7. And again, 4 can be a trickier number. And so when we think about 4, though, we can always break 4 into 2 2s, right? 2 is another one of these doubles facts we keep coming back to. If we can learn our doubles facts, we can do some of these problems a little bit easier. So what do we see here? So we've got our array, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then there's 7 going across, all right? So what we're going to do is take our 4 and break it into 2 2s, all right? 1, 2, 1, 2. And there's still 7 in every single row. Well, now I can just say, well, what is 2 times 7, which is my doubles fact, which is 14. If I have 14 up here, I don't even need to do this again. I can just say this one is 14 also, right? Well, what do we do when we use the distributive property? We've got to add them together. So We had 4 times 7, which was 4 rows of 7. That is 2 7s plus 2 more 7s. 2 7s plus 2 more 7s. 2 7s was 14. So 14 plus 14, 4 plus 4 is 8. 1 plus 1 is 2. So 4 times 7 is 28. All right. All we're doing is taking it and breaking it into some easier numbers for us to work with. All right. Well, let's go ahead and come on down here to number 3. Now, for these problems down here, I'm going to ask you to either grab a piece of paper or your whiteboard. We're going to draw some pictures to help us out with some of these. You don't have to do that for all of them, but for some of them, I want you to try that out. So, would you please go ahead and pause the video right now? We're going to grab our whiteboards to do number 3. So for number 3, we've got our whiteboard. I'm going to go ahead and put it down here. It's the same 3 times 10. I've just written it on my whiteboard. And I'm going to go ahead and we're going to start drawing our 3 times 10. All right. Now, when I do this, I'm not going to make anything fancy. I'm just going to use my dots, but I got to be careful because if I'm sloppy with them, then it's going to be a big mess, right? So I need 3 rows. So here's 1 row and I need 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, next row. 1, 2, and I hope you're doing this with me. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then I need 1 more row, 3 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, here is my 3 times 10. All right, well, just like we were doing before, we want to break this into some easier numbers. All right. 2 doubles facts are always easier for me. So I want 1, 2. So I'm going to draw my line across here. I'm using a different color. You can just use the same color. That's okay. But I'm going to draw my line across here. What do I have here? I've got 2, and then there's still 10. So 2 times 10. And then here I've got 1, and there's 10. So 1 times 10. All right. Well, what is 2 times 10? Well, 2 times 1 is 2, and then put that 0 at the end. And one group of 10 is 10. So 20 plus 10, because I've got to add these together now, is going to give me 30. So 3 times 10 equals 30. All right. So let's come back over here. That seems easy enough. 3 times 10, go ahead and write it in, is 30. All right. Next up, I want you to go ahead and we're going to take a look at number 4. All right, so for number 4, we're going to use our whiteboard again, just like we just did. I'm going to erase mine too. All right, so for number 4, we've got 5 times 4. So I'm going to go ahead and write that in, 5 times 4. All right, 5 times 4. That tells me I've got 5 rows, and there's 4 in each one. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Row number 2. Row number 3. Row number 4. Row number 5. All right. So how can I break this into something that's just a little bit easier for me to solve? Well, I see my 4s, and I know that I could break 4 into 2 different groups. 1, 2, and 1, 2. So this time I'm going to cut it down the middle like this. Well, what now do I have? Well, I've got 1, 2, and I've got times 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And over here, I've got the same 1, 2 times 5. Hey, this seems like one of those ones that's a little bit easier. Well, 2 5s, that's a doubles fact. 2 times 5 is 10. And if I add this 10 with it, there we go. 10 plus 10, I hope you said it with me, is 20. So we're able to break this apart into some easier spots for us to be able to solve that problem. All right. So 5 times 4 equals 20. All right. I'm going to have you pause your video in just a moment to do numbers 5 and number 7. Now, you might want to use your whiteboard to go ahead and solve that problem because we're going to try using our arrays for this one. All right. But go ahead, pause your video right now as we are going to solve number 5 and then we're going to solve number 7. All right, I hope you were able to pause for number 5. We've got 3 times 8. All right, 3 times 8. So 3 tells me I need 3 rows, and there's going to be 8 in each row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Next row, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And you see how quick I'm doing this. One more row, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, I could try cutting this into some big chunks, but I see that I could make a 2 and a 1 by cutting it right here. Do you see that? I've got 2 rows here, and there's 8 in each of those rows. And down here, I've got 1 row, and there's 8 in there. So 1 times 8 here. All right. Well, now that I've got this, I can say, all right, so what was 2 times 8? Well, it is a doubles fact of 16. 1 times 8 is just the identity property telling me that the 1 is going to steal the 8's identity. And now I can add this up. So 16 plus 8, 8 plus 6 is 14. 1 plus 1 is 2. So my answer here is 24. All right. 24 is what we should have found for number 5. All right. Now, for number 7, we should have 3 times 7. Now, they stacked them on top of each other, but we are going to do the exact same way of what we were just doing. All right. 3 times 7 tells me 3 rows with 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Next row, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Next row, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right. I've got 3 rows, and there's 7 in every row. I need to break these apart. I can see that I can make my 2 and 1 here, just like that last problem. 2 rows now, so 2 times 7. 1 row times 7. All right. 2 times 7 is a doubles fact, which will give me 14. And 1 times 7 is 7. Now I can add this together. 4 plus 7 is 11. Carry my 1 over. 1 plus 1 is 2. So 3 times 7 equals 21. All right. Now, this is just another way for you to practice multiplication. And this is called the distributive property, which tells us that we can take our multiplication fact and break it into some easier multiplication facts in order to solve the problem. All right. All we have to do is look for those same patterns when we've got 3s and 4s to get to multiplying by 1 or 2. Well, thanks so much for staying focused and working with me today. I hope you guys have a great rest of the day, and we will see you next time.